Hey folks, back for another installment of the record collection overview videos. Sorry if I look like I just woke up, because I did. But let's get right back into it. I left off last video with Leo Sayer. Two cool records I got. For free, essentially, I think. But next up, we're starting up with my Lou Reed correction. God. I need to go back to bed, apparently. My Lou Reed collection. Here I have the Best Buy Series Transformer album. Really good album all around. It's not easy listening music, but it is easy to listen to, in my opinion. I guess you gotta be a fan of Lou Reed's voice, though. But anyway, on from there, I've got a reissue of Berlin, which is a great album. I bought this just on a whim, thinking, hey, more Lou Reed to check out, right? And I really enjoyed the album, so I sought out an original pressing, and lo and behold, I found one. And this had a booklet on the inside as well, which I thought was really great, because it's not too often that you find original stuff with all the things intact, and this is actually in like perfect condition, like very, very good shape. The sleeve's a little worn, but it's not really that banged up. It's just a little discolored, I guess. Get this back together somewhat loose. Then we have Sally Can't Dance, which is another really great Lou Reed album. I love the artwork on this. Something about the stylistic choice of the color scheme with the font. Just very tasteful, timeless, you know. And this had the original sleeve on the inside as well. It's an original pressing. Oop. Next we got Rock and Roll Animal, the great Lou Reed live album, the first live Lou Reed album that I heard. This is an original as well. Nice gatefold, nothing too fancy. I'm not going to pull it out to show you guys. And then this here is one of my favorite albums of all time, Metal Machine Music. I don't know if you want to freeze the video and read any of that, but it's pretty interesting, and that's a great photo of Lou too, you know, just this jacket, the whole aesthetic of the album. But the best part is, for those who aren't familiar with this album, I'll show you first. Nice gatefold here. This insert here as well, if you want to stop and read it at some point. Very interesting. But I'll show you just one of the records. The sides are all messed up. A, D, B, and C are on the other one. But it doesn't matter really, because every side is different, but it's more or less of the same thing all the way through. If you can see, there's no tracks. It's just one continuous track all the way through the entire album, and it's constructed from multiple looped guitars just feeding noise into amps and like creating feedback. And it's quite monumental actually when you listen to it and give it the time of day rather than just dismissing it as noise. There's a lot of sound going on there, and it's chaotic, yes, but there is order to it if you listen closely enough. It's very interesting. Great album. First noise musician was Lou Reed. Then we have The Bells, another one that I just picked up on a whim, because more Lou Reed never hurt nobody. Except maybe Metallica. Anyway, yeah, no, this was a great album too. It's an original press as well, and it's recorded with binaural beat technology, so there's a quality to this where the notes and the way that they're syncopated in the recording and the way that they're mixed with left and right channels it causes some sort of psychological effect, or it's supposed to. Anyway, moving onward. We got an original pressing here as well of another Lou Reed live album. It's just called Lou Reed Live, no special title. Great album. I'm not sure if I like this one more than Rock and Roll Animal. This one has more to offer, I think, but I think I might like some of the performances and the character to the performances in Rock and Roll Animal more. Anyway, next up here, try and keep this a long story short, but Bubblegum by Mark Lanegan. Fantastic album, fantastic musician, but I think this is his best work. And this album, essentially, I heard of it from watching an interview with Jesse Hughes from the Eagles of Death Metal, their singer and guitar player. And he was just being asked like his favorite musicians and this and that, and just a bunch of questions revolving around music. And one of them was, if you could go back in time and steal an album, which would it be? And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, if you could go back in time and make an album before someone else did because you like it that much, what album would it be? And he was like, Bubblegum by Mark Lanegan. And I knew who Mark Lanegan was because he had worked with Queens of the Stone Age, but I had never heard of that album. So I went and looked it up on YouTube and I was like, okay, I gotta order this. And I found a copy on eBay. And next is My Chemical Romance, their self-titled, well, not their self-titled, but their first album. It's probably a reissue, although it may not be. Either way, great album, great band. Don't let people who just kind of shit on them because they're emo or whatever, you know, don't let that get to you. Quality music, quality production. I dig them. And now we're on to another artist here. We got, looks like just a couple minutes, but I'll power through it. 9 Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine. This is a reissue of the 1989 first album from Trent Reznor and co. But at this point I believe it was just Trent who was making the sounds and recording them. Great album. Fantastic. After that, I got a reissue here, the new 9 Inch Nails 180 gram definitive version of Broken. The EP that came out after their first album. Yeah, and this guy here is angry, loud, and proud of it. It also came with the 45. This one's probably going to go over 10, I'm showing you guys. These are really nice, these definitive versions that 9 Inch Nails have put out. They come with these great matte printed booklets with an article from, I believe, Rolling Stone or some other musical outlet at the time of its release in regard to its, you know, production and sale and blah 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 blah, just the good stuff. And then there's some cool photos or scans, I guess, of some posters or some letter to fans. Either way, really nice package. Great to have this EP on vinyl. Nice, heavyweight, 180 gram. And if you look at the other side, there's the EP on one side. On the other side, it's a spiral. And it's all scratched lyrics to Last, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of scratched out and very messily written. Thought that was cool as well, but the coolest thing was that it actually came, you know, like the CDs of this came with a mini CD with a couple extra tracks. This actually came with a 45 with those tracks, and that, to me, was like the best kind of fan service out there. Definitely love 9 Inch Nails. Always have, since I heard of them, always will, I believe. Next up, from 9 Inch Nails, we have The Downward Spiral, which came out after Broken, the EP which I showed you last. Nothing too special here. This isn't the definitive version. It came out a couple of years, or good couple of years before they did, because they just came out last year, I think. but it's the same kind of weight to it. It's 180 grams. Yeah, good pressing, good record. Nothing to say about the Downward Spiral that you haven't heard before. Fragile, another definitive edition vinyl from 9 Inch Nails here. These go for ridiculous amounts of money for the original pressings now, but this to me is satisfactory, you know, as a substitute. This is a heavy triple 180 gram vinyl. It's not a double gate fold. It only opens one way, and it's a bit of a pain because it's open in the middle there, so you can see how things slide and it would be easy to break them in half. You gotta be careful, but that, just knowing that kind of like makes me more attentive, you know? Makes me take more care. Anyway, nothing too fancy on the gatefold here, but nice heavyweight vinyl. Again, this came with a great write-up from a magazine with photos and scans and stuff. Very happy to have this, and happy I didn't have to pay $500 to $800 for it on eBay. I don't know what it goes for in person. Anyway, after the Fragile, missing a couple from that period afterwards. A good number. I got Hesitation Marks, their comeback album from 2013. I was a really big fan of this when it came out, and I still really enjoy a lot of the tracks on it to a great degree, but not my favorite 9 Inch Nails anymore. Their current stuff I really am enjoying, and maybe I'll feel the same way about it in the future, but, you know, currently I feel the same way about it that I did about this, and that's why I'm really, you know, still a fan, I guess. Yeah, nothing wrong with this album. It's just aged a little bit, and you know what? I'm sure that's all there is to it. You know, it's not going to age any more than it has. I think it's matured. And then we have the 3 EPs that they had just recently done, their most recent work that I was just referring to. The first of which I think started in 2016 with Not the Actual Events. I was very happy to get this on vinyl when I did, because I listened to it and it took months for it to come out on vinyl, I'm pretty sure. In store at least. Inner sleeve for this is great. It's got like the lyrics printed in all manner of different directions, and wow, the camera has a hard time picking up that blue. That's interesting. But yeah, there's like it's printed this way, but it's printed this way. It's printed all different directions. It's very cool to look at. The one side of this EP is the EP. The other side is, I think, 2 or 3 songs from the Downward Spiral played in reverse. So that sounds horrifying, as you can probably imagine. The next EP in that trilogy, Ad Violence, came out in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, and it didn't take quite so long for this to hit the shelves on vinyl, if I'm not mistaken. But I love the artwork on this EP. Really cool. Looks like an old reel-to-reel or some sort of analog equipment, you know? And the more you read it, the more it kind of freaks you out. Great EP. Not a whole lot I need to say about it. If you haven't heard these EPs, if you're not a 9 Inch Nails fan, go check out all their music and get to the EPs, because they're good. Then you'll know what I'm talking about. And lastly, from 9 Inch Nails, we have the final EP in the trilogy, and it's called Bad Witch. Well, it's not an EP, it's technically an LP. They decided to, you know, drop the theme of the triple EPs and just make it an LP. Partly to do with the fact that they weren't getting a lot of views on streaming services, because EPs and albums are categorized in different areas and people weren't seeing their stuff, so that was causing them some problems. But anyway, really fantastic EP. There's saxophone. Trent Reznor sings like David Bowie in this crooning tone. It's very cool. Different. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the inner sleeve of Remain in Light by the Talking Heads, but if you have seen it, these markings on the back remind me a great deal of what's going on with the band members' faces on the inner sleeve for that. And I thought that was really strange. Maybe intentional, maybe not. But I know that Trent's lifted a couple motifs and visual elements or themes from the Talking Heads before. And honestly, at that, so that's good. Anyway, be back with another video in a bit. You guys have a good day.